I wanted to introduce a special guest to you. I'm excited to have Angel Diaz here. Angel is a producer in Maryland. And just a couple weeks ago, Angel sent me an email that I'm going to kind of summarize for y'all real quick. And then I'm going to have Angel come on and just share a little bit about how CWC is impacting him and his ability to do business. So, just to kind of summarize the email that he sent to me just a few weeks ago, he said, "Some say that gratitude is the key to success. That's why I'm writing this email to you. A couple months ago, I reached out asking for guidance about how to be effective in applying lead with liability. We got him paired up with one of our coaches, and they got to work on building rapport. His conversations have been too transactional, so that he was working on building rapport while getting to know the customer. Since that time, within a short period, I've had 3 one-call closes in a row, one after another, just by earning the customer's trust after building rapport, leading with liability, and handling objections effectively." He writes, "Thank you so much for all the time and effort you put into these amazing scripts." Y'all, the email doesn't stop. "I arrived to this country 4 years ago with my mom. We literally had to escape from Venezuela, our home country, and starting a new life has not been easy. I used to be a travel agent. I did that for many years. I loved that job. I was a very good agent, treated my customers with great professionalism. Almost half the city had my phone number. But things have changed, right? When I got here, starting fresh, brand new into a new industry, there's so much competition in the industry," he writes. "I just wanted to be lower priced than my competitors.
Hmm.
Once you joined this agency and you started selling on coverage and value and your advice, you're now finding success." He ends the email with, "The process works." So, dude, when I read that message a couple weeks ago, you've had a lot of personal challenges. You've overcome a lot of adversity, and now you're thriving. You're doing such a great job. But, Angel, enough for me. Man, tell us more of your story.
Thank you, Joseph. Well, like I said, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm with Mariana Fernandez Allstate Agency. I've been here since January, but before I was here, I was working for another agency, but I wasn't getting any training or tools with them. We started with CWC back on April, okay? And the first time I read the lead liability script, I thought this was the holy grail of all scripts, and I said, okay, this is what's going to get me the sales that I need to make. Okay, so I started applying this script, but I was not being very effective. Okay, even though that I found out that the script showed me the way on how to give value to the policy, I wasn't being very effective, and that's when I reached out to you the first time I sent you that email asking you for guidance. Because I said, okay, I'm trying to educate our Hispanic customers, but they don't seem to care about liability. They just want to make sure that their car is insured with collision and comprehensive and try to get the lowest rate possible. Okay, so you put me in contact with Gabriela Reina. So she listened to one of my conversations with a customer, and she told me something that I was ignoring. I knew that I was not building rapport, and she told me that. Okay, she said, okay, you're being too transactional. You need to build rapport. So I started giving the building rapport part of the process the importance that it had. Okay, it was a little bit tough and uncomfortable at the beginning because I felt stupid asking those questions. I have to be honest, okay. But when I found out that when I did it the first time and I noticed the connection that I made with the customer and how easy it was at the end when I was trying to explain the coverages and how important it is to have a generous liability coverage, and when I finally sold that policy, I said, okay, I need to get better at this. So I kept trying and trying. So just to go back to the case that the reason why I sent you that email, I talked to a lady one day. I called her in the morning. I started building a rapport. It was like a 90-minute conversation, and I closed the deal in just one call. Okay. Then I talked to another customer. That one was an internet lead. I'm sorry. And I did the same thing. Okay. I asked the questions. I built rapport. He talked me about his 3 kids, the ones that was born here, and the other 2 were born in Honduras. And I went to the coverage section of a process. I started leading with liability, and after 60 minutes, he purchased a policy. Okay, but that day, we usually close at 5 p.m. on Fridays, and I was a little tired already. I called somebody, they didn't answer, so I went to get some water. And when I sat back on my chair, I saw that lead, and I said, okay, should I call them? Should I not? Let's give it a try. They're probably not going to answer. And he did. He did answer. He had a weird name. I don't even remember the name of the customer. I didn't know it was a Spanish customer. And when we started talking, I noticed some accent, and I asked him, okay, where are you from? He said that he was from Peru. Then, okay, we've been talking for 10 minutes in English now. Let's switch to Spanish now. And then I started to build rapport. I asked him about his life. He told me he was a dentist in Peru, and then he came to this country 16 years ago. He has 2 kids, all that. Okay. And I left with liability. And when I gave him the rate, at the beginning, he told me that he was paying $200. And when I asked him, okay, what are your current liability limits? He said, okay, well, I have 30/60. That's the state minimum. And he said, I've had to decrease those coverages twice because of the rate increases. Okay, let's see what we can do. So when I finally gave him my rate after later with liability, I told him, okay, the rate to start today is going to be 278. And I was getting ready to get the objection, and he said, okay, that's not bad. And I was surprised. Okay, sir, are you sure you're supposed to give me an objection? But after that, it was like a more than 100-minute conversation. We did everything that you recommend in the script. We made some changes to the deductibles. We changed a few things in the policy, and he finally ended up binding that policy, paying like $35 more than he was paying. But something that he really said to me, he was that he liked the very professional way that I handle everything. Then, like I told in my email, when I was a travel agent in my country, I always try to be very professional with all of my customers, and that's the way that I want to do it with everybody. Fortunately, when we're selling insurance, we cannot give away 3 days of coverage, but what we can do is what the other agent has not done in 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years. Okay, is make a quick review and give them the recommendations based on their needs. Okay, and you can get to that point only when you have built rapport and when you discover everything that is exposed and needs to be properly covered.
Wow. I mean, you just gave so much valuable information, so much valuable advice. Man, I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed that you're taking these scripts, you're taking these top paths, you're taking the CWC sales process and philosophy, and you're following it.
Yeah.
While we're talking, we had a couple chats. And I'm not trying to just put this all on you, so I'll be happy to answer some of these chats. But we had Chad out there. Chad said, building rapport is something I'm very comfortable with. What I find challenging, though, is that a lot of people really just want to talk about a lower rate. That's true. A lot of people will appear to be direct shoppers, y'all. But just think about this. Most of your customers or prospects you're talking to aren't going to start the call by saying, hey, I just got this big inheritance. I've got all this extra money. I got to find a way to spend some of this extra money. Can you sell me some high priced insurance? No, everybody's going to give the vibe that they're just trying to save money, right? What I love was Devin's answer. Devin Harris, she said, I really like what Craig and Joseph say about direct shoppers. Brush it off, listen to the call, and see where you could potentially have emphasized the importance of better coverage, lower rate, and then follow up in 6 months to try to get them again. But then we had another chat, Austin. Yes, it's really difficult to sell when you're quoting apples to apples and still more expensive. Austin, other team members out there watching this live or maybe watching this recording on the platform, we can't just quote apples to apples. Most people have nowhere near the coverage that they need. We have to give them much better liability protection. We lead with liability here at CWC, and the difference in price and liability is not much. It's really not much from each tier. Yes, for some people it can be, especially if they have young drivers, or they have lots of cars, they've got a couple tickets and accidents, they're barely qualifying for your standard auto. But we had these 2 team members, Chad and Austin, saying that they're struggling with price. You're telling me you just closed this guy from Peru after 100 minutes of conversation even with all the tweaking, we were still about $35 more a month. That's about $400 a year. He bought it. So, man, Angel, you probably challenged yourself with these or had these internal objections about people only caring about price. Like you said, a lot of your customers seem to feel like they only care about price, especially those that speak, Espanol. You know what the problem is? They've never had somebody like you take the time to talk with them, and you
Correct.
are. I think that's why you're closing more deals. Talk about that inner struggle, those inner objections that you have that most people only will buy for less. Talk a little bit more about how you've overcome those internal objections.
Well, before I was introduced to this great platform, my way to see insurance was just a requisite, and that people hated to pay for insurance because it was mandatory. Okay. So the only way that I was going to be able to close a deal was just trying, if I was lucky enough to be lower in price. Okay. So I remember when you interview Matthew Garcia, and I saw that video, and he said that you interviewed him when he got the Century Club Award, and he said something that really got my attention. Was he said that he focuses on giving value to the policy. Okay, and I said, okay, how can I do that? Okay, we actually I work with Mariam, the other rising star, and we actually called him one day and asked him for some advice, and he gave us a few tricks that he uses when he's talking to a Hispanic customer, and he's having a hard time trying to live with liability. So the way that he told us a few tricks of how he handles the deductibles, things that he offers to the customer to make the policy even better than other companies can offer. Okay, but at the beginning it was a little bit difficult to apply the living with liability script because I was just trying to sell higher coverage, and the customer was feeling that I was just trying to overcharge them. Okay, but that wasn't my intention. Okay, so I just practiced as much as I could. I do take some part of my personal time to train, watch the videos at home, read the scripts. I always keep a script with me in case I forget something. I just have it right with me, and I that way I can assure that I'm going to close that deal because I'm following the process the way it should be. And like I said before we started this live webinar, I'm trending to have the highest month ever since I'm with Mariana.
That's amazing. You're about to have your best month ever. Now, how long have you been with Mariana?
Since January.
Since January. So this is your ninth month, right? This is
Correct.
your ninth month. About to have your best month ever. And man, we're not just trying to sell higher limits as like a tactic or as a strategy, y'all. It's because they need it. Now we've got some chats in here that honestly we don't have time to get to today. This is not the main topic of today. Today's topic is not lead with liability or building rapport. It's going to be on voicemails and effective follow-up timelines, all that kind of stuff. But we have a lot of chats here from, I'm guessing, some newer team members. Flow. People specifically want apples to apples. How do you redirect them when they don't have enough sufficient coverage, but they're objecting? Flow, you got to watch some of our lead with liability training. We've done live training sessions, tons of role play sessions. We've got lots of videos on lead with liability. That's going to help you so much. Danielle says we lost a home and auto because we were trying to lead with liability and they chose another agent with lower coverages. Danielle, guess what? They weren't going to stick anyways. Y'all, if you're writing business that falls off, that hurts your agency's retention, that completely impacts their business for the next 3 to 5 years. We don't want to write people that are only going to be here for 3 to 6 months, then not renew or cancel in the first term. So honestly, Danielle, they did you a favor going somewhere else. Who we're trying to target, y'all, who we're trying to target is the local agency segment, the people that will value your advice. There's another chat. There's just so many chats here. All right. Somebody said Florida. Timothy says Florida just seems, really that people only care about rates. For real, in Florida, right? One of the highest cost of living states that people chose to live there. Think about it, y'all. This is what I tell somebody if they say, really in our area, I hear this all the time. In our area, people really only care about price. And I say this, oh, really? So everyone in your area is driving a 25-year-old Kia? Every restaurant in your town is a McDonald's only selling dollar hamburgers? People still got the flip phones. They don't even got the iPhones and the Android phones. There's not a single Starbucks. Oh my God, I'd die. Y'all, people buy what they want. From the car that they drive, the clothes that they wear, the phone in their pocket or their purse, the food that they eat for lunch. People buy what they want. What we want to do is get them to want to buy protection for their income, their assets, their family, their future, their home equity. And we do that by following the very simple script. What is it, page 15 or 16? Lead with liability, lead with liability of the CWC scripts. And then that goes into the umbrella discussion. Then that goes into the assumptive close. The CWC scripts are going to be so helpful. But is everybody going to take your advice? Angel, if you give your advice to 10 people, do you feel like you're going to close 10 out of 10?
No, not everybody's going to do it, but like the script says, it's going to position me as a trusted professional.
That's right, my man. Here's the deal, y'all. If you can close 2 or 3 customers out of 10, and you're bundling auto, property, and umbrella at least 30 to 40% of the time, auto and property, so what they drive and where they sleep, at least 90% of the time. If you close 2 to 3 customers out of every 10 that you quote, that is actually really good. What that means is you're going to get a lot of no's. Angel, let me ask you this. Every no gets you closer to what?
To another no, and then to another yes.
Why'd you have to give the right answer? See, I was expecting you to say, Joseph, it gets me closer to a yes. And I was going to say, Angel, a no gets you closer to another no, then another no, then another no.
Because
then
I pay
yes.
close attention to what you say
that.
in the webinars.
Well, dude, I'm impressed. I literally asked that same question to an agency that I'm just now starting to work with personally a couple hours ago, and I tricked them. And I said, every no gets you closer to what? And they said yes. I was like, nope. Another no, 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 then a yes.
Yeah.
Persistence pays. Persistence pays. And y'all don't be afraid to be too persistent. And in fact, that's what we're going to talk about right now in the live training. Let's all give a virtual round of applause to my man Angel. I'm so impressed with you, man. All the
Thank you.
challenges that mother have overcome since coming to this country 4 years ago. Now you're in a brand new industry. You're crushing it with an awesome agency owner that cares about you and your success, your development. You're using the training that CWC and Mariana's giving to you there, your agency. Dude, keep me posted on your progress. I think you've got big things in store. All right, my man. Well, I appreciate you so much.